Right, welcome back to you. If you've just switched your telly on, good afternoon from the sports desk. So earlier today we had race prodigies, 14-year-old Cayden and 9-year-old Blake in studio. Right now we have their mentor, Clint joining us. Now you might wonder why. Well, Clint is not only their mentor, but also the current SA Superbike champion, a title that he has won 8 times. The final round of the Ultimate Superbike South African Championship will be held next weekend. That's on Saturday at Kyalami. Now, Clinton is currently leading by 26 points, and needless to say, having won it 8 times, of course, he is hoping to win it for the 9th time. So, Clint, before we talk about you getting the title for the 9th time, just talk us through the entire tournament. I mean, you mentioned to me that it has been coming since March. And I think this is one of those sporting codes where you have a tournament going on for such a long time for one title.
Yeah, absolutely. So how it starts is basically it's a season. So we actually started in Red Star in Delmas early March. And then we sort of dot ourselves all over the country at various racetracks and travel, and each round carries with it for 50 points. So 2 heats, each heat 25 points. And yeah, you've got to make sure that you every weekend are coming out, and it takes a year to build up a points gap, you know, and the difference between first and second is about 5 points. So you got to try and always make sure that you are monitoring your championship competitors. And then, yeah, keeping healthy throughout a whole year and safe so that you can, you know, that's the sort of way to win the championship, it feels like, yeah.
So I want to ask you 2 things. When you say keeping healthy throughout the year, other sporting codes, we're used to people training, going to the gym, etc., etc. How do you then plan for, I mean, if you have a superbike, how do you guys stay healthy? How do you stay fit?
So you definitely do have to be fit. You know, I actually laughed the other day. I stopped at a fuel garage. I was putting in gas in my my training bike. I have a bike that I just go and train on. And the fuel attendant said to me, "What do you mean you keep fit? You just sit there." And I was like, "I promise you, it's a lot more work than you think." But yeah, keeping fit throughout the whole year so that you don't burn out. And then again, a big challenge in our sport is keeping our weight down. So I love food, but unfortunately, for 90% of the year, it's restricted, very restricted in what I can eat. So you try and maintain your fitness, your health, and then that you don't get hurt in any crashes. You know, that's important as well, yeah.
What do you have to keep your weight down to, by the way?
So I fluctuate between 69 and 70 kgs. So I'm 1.8 meters tall, so it feels to me like it's a lot of work, but yeah, I could comfortably be a happy 80 kgs and living life enjoyable, but it's just not what our sport allows, yeah.
And is the weight thing, that's what I wanted to ask you, is the weight thing part of a qualification process, or is it because you're on a superbike and you need to be a certain weight to ride?
I mean, it's definite. You can ride or race, but yeah, to be the best, you know, to be the best and to win, it's just, yeah, part of it. The bikes, although they're super powerful, they're all super powerful. And if there's a guy that weighs 70 versus a guy that weighs 85, the guy with 70 is a lot easier.
So talking about the points system, I've mentioned now that you're 26 points ahead. You've got a 26-point lead. But going into the race on Saturday, you've got 2 races on Saturday. How easy is it to win this? The person who's right behind you, who's currently number 2, could he then possibly take this with you being 26 points ahead? Let's say nothing goes wrong, there's no crashes, there's nothing. How easy is it for you with that 26-point lead?
It's, listen, I'm happier being in my position with a 26-point lead than a 26-point deficit. It definitely makes my life a little bit easier. So I've got a whole heat win ahead. So if he wins a heat and I score 0, I'm still 1 point ahead. Okay. So it does make it a bit mentally easier that you know, okay, I've got a little bit of safety margin. But then again, you also, you know, you want to get it done. You want to get it over with. You want to get the stress done. And then my idea is hopefully to get it done in the first heat, that by the second heat, I really want to try for a very fast lap time at Kyalami. You know, there was all the talk with Brad Binder, and he did that incredible lap time on his MotoGP bike. I want to see how close it's possible to get on our spec bikes, yeah.
And I think if you win the first race, so you get that out the way, which meaning that you'll have the 9th title at least for the 9th time, you can then focus your energy on getting a good time for the second heat.
Taking a bit of risk in the second heat, yeah. I think that's the idea. Get the first heat done, and then the second heat will take a bit of risk. Yeah.
And then you can go rogue. So talking about taking a bit of risk, the weather. it has been raining for the longest time. So talk to me just about how this affects your planning. I mean, you've got testing to do on your bikes. It's the actual race on Saturday. Let's say it rains this entire week up until Saturday. How does that affect you, not only with the tasting, but for you to ride on Saturday? What would then that mean?
So we ride, come rain or shine, we ride. So we change the tyres, we put on rain tyres, and the rain tyres are very good. So, but again, it just elevates that risk, you know. At Kyalami, we're doing 290 k's an hour in a lot of places, and when it's wet, it just elevates the chances of things going wrong. So you've got to ride a little bit more carefully, a little bit more smooth and gentle. But for us, the biggest challenge with this weather over the last couple of weeks has been we've got a sort of a program that builds up to a race amongst the team. And, you know, we have certain parts we like to test. So I have different suspension settings and different actual suspension units that we want to try. And we haven't been able to try any of that. So where we thought we'd be at this point, we're a little bit further behind. But it's the same for everybody, I think. So, well, I hope. But, yeah, so we've got a lot of work to do on Friday. So hopefully it doesn't rain on Friday. But if it does, it's the same for everyone. And, you know, I've been doing this so many years. I just, you know, going to get on and get the job done. That's the plan.
That's true. Get the job done. So if you win this for the 9th time, and you know I'm literally rooting for you, I'm waiting for number 9. Where to from here? I know you're focusing a lot of your time mentoring. For any of our viewers who might have been, you know, watching the channel this morning, they would have seen the kids that were on air. So I know it's very important for you to mentor them, and it's not just the two. It's Luengo, eh?
Lungo, yeah.
As well.
So he's
yes.
racing next weekend with me as well,
with
just in
as
the
well.
junior class.
Yeah. So I know that you do have your mentorship that you do, but other than that, if you were now to win this for the 9th time, where to from here? Are you chasing a 10th title? Anything else? Are you looking at going outside of the borders of South Africa? I know you did previously have a race in the United States.
Yeah, so next year I do want to do, obviously COVID put a lot of stop on overseas travel, especially for me. I didn't want to be away, I couldn't miss races locally. So I would like to next year to travel to a few away races. You know, there's a couple opportunities I have, but certainly my focus is here with my King Price team. I want to stay with them, I want to spend more time with the youngsters. It's sort of, I think that's what's more keeping me going than anything else. But yeah, 10 does sound nice though. Hey? 10 does, that's a good number, I think, you know.
Is that the number? So if you get the 10th one, is that the number? Is that when you're going to say, you know what, this is it for me, or?
I don't know.
You look like
I'm not sure. Yeah,
going,
I guess when you get there, you'll know, you know, and I think it'll be the year up, coming up to it. But it does sound like a good round number for me at this stage. But I said that at 7, and yeah, we're ploughing on still. So we'll see when we get there. But I think the young guys, Cayden and Blake and Lungo, they sort of keep pushing me. So every time I get to a point, I think, okay, I can wind down. Then the youngsters, they want to race me on our training bikes, and then I have to, you know, show them that I'm still the big dog. So they're keeping me young.
I think Lungo was chasing you. I think at this point he's looking at you saying, you're the SA Superbike champion right now, sir.
Yeah, he
but
wants it.
when I am old enough,
I'm coming for you. I can see it in his eye. He wants it. He wants it bad.
So just quickly talk to me about the kids. How are the kids doing, by the way? And what is your hope for what would happen with motorsport rather in South Africa? It's not one of the biggest codes, it's not high up on the list. Do you think in the past couple of years, I know there has been COVID, but do you think in the past few years there's been more awareness, there's been more participation when it comes to motorsport in our country, and where do you see it going?
So I think the Binder factor, I always call it the Binder factor, they've really brought a huge shine on local motorsport. And even the other riders, you know, there's quite a few other riders that race, for example, in the American National Championship, and those guys are front runners and are in factory teams, and then World Endurance, and, you know, there's guys that ride the Isle of Man and that kind of stuff. I think what the Binders have done is people have started to not only see MotoGP, but they're looking at the other riders and other other championships, not world championships, but other championships, and then they've said, wow, you know, it's not just MotoGP. And then in the junior level, where I've seen huge increase in participation, you know, where Cayden and Blake are racing, they are racing in a championship where, I mean, we raced yesterday with them, I raced with them. It was pouring. It was, honestly, I didn't go out because I was like, it's super dangerous. And the kids were out there on slick tires, crashing about 15 times a lap, but they were pushing super hard. So I think there's a very strong young group that are coming up. and that guys that want it super bad, which is incredible to see. My goal certainly is that I can always, when I started my team, I wanted to be able to give a kid the opportunities I had when I was 15 years old. You know, I got paid money to race motorbikes, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. You get to paid to be in the sport you want to do, you know. So that's really my goal. And if I can give a few youngsters that opportunity that then helps them to go on an international stage, then all the championships and that will kind of be a second place to what that achievement to me would be, for sure, yeah.
Clint, thank you so much for your time. We do have to go. Before we go, very quickly, on Saturday, you said the one heat is at what time?
First heat is at 11 to 12.
And the other one is at 3?
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Okay, so all the best to you. I really hope that you do get the 9th title in the first heat, and great work with the kids. You know, if we had these types of mentors when I was young playing sport, I can tell you now it makes a huge difference, and they definitely do look up to you. But thank you so much for coming in, and thank you so much for your time. That was 8-time SA Superbike champion Clinton Seller. He's going to be racing to hopefully make this the 9th title next weekend. That's on Saturday, and that will be at Kyalami. I'm going to miss that one. I'm going to be here working, but we will be rooting for him.